might as well kick this off whilst you're still walking around, haven't I? I'm
I was
down
just
what?
having a meander because I'm in God's country.
Look at this. Absolute beauty.
Back
On
riding
location
again.
at Bugs Boarding. Look,
Back
we're
riding again. Happy as Larry.
Hey, back on board.
Yeah,
Jolly Sloggett, back on board.
pretty stoked with that. 9 weeks, well, 9 fucking dark weeks, but we're back.
Awesome to hear. Look, we need to get on with this episode. We've got him waiting in the room. Or waiting in the room? In the
Yeah, we are
waiting
chatting
room.
shit while we've got the guests waiting.
Yeah, is might be unknown to some of the electric mountain board fraternity, but well known throughout the downhill mountain board worlds, and still to this day, I think it's correct to say that he has the most viewed episode of the Dirt Mountain Board podcast.
Yeah,
But today is in for a Dirty podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, let's get him in the room, Mr. Don Baker. Now, Don has been around since the dawn of mountain board time. And if you haven't seen his episode, then you can go and check that out and catch up on loads of stuff there. But as you can see in the background of his setup there, there's lots. Can you hear that? Got an ice cream van just pulled up outside. It's
oh, yeah.
Wheels
I'll have a 99. I'll have a 99 with sherbet dip on it, please, mate.
Look, Dom, welcome. Thank you for
Thank you.
returning.
Thanks for having me back. I'm really excited.
Yeah, it's great to have you back, man. We had a real historical lesson last time.
Yeah,
and it was
I felt like it was the best school day of my life.
It was great to tell the stories and share them. That made my day for sure.
Yeah, definitely. And still the most viewed episode. Still the most viewed episode. So well done on that accolade there.
Thank you.
Yeah, I was just explaining to the listeners that if they're coming from an electric background and listening to the Dirty podcast, that they may not be as familiar with you as some of the downhill community. But it's safe to say you've been round the block. You've been on it since the inception days of mountain boarding through to current day. And at the end of our episode, or partway through our episode, we got onto the topic of electric boards, didn't we?
Yeah, and really, you guys fired me up. I mean, the spark that you guys lit inside me is incredible.
Now,
They're good, aren't they?
yeah, they're good, aren't they?
Going up here on a mountain board, first few times blows your mind.
Yeah, I can only imagine what your face must have been like with the first sort of push of the throttle and the getting to grips of it. And let's be honest, you got to grips with it pretty damn quickly. We see some hell of a good track riding, like off-road border cross, like flat border cross riding from your recent, and I can only assume that you've been doing plenty of excursions from your front door and exploring your local area on it and having a ride round on it.
Yeah, I'm still finding new trails. You know, the search, the adventure has just re-began. It's starting all over. What got me excited about traditional mountain boarding, the electric mountain board has opened up a whole more world of trails and access. And as you guys have probably maybe viewed a few of my videos, those videos were taken as the first run I had ever gone down those trails. So I got to share that experience through the raw footage videos, not knowing what's around the bend. around the corner, and extremely exciting.
Yeah, I bet it just completely opened. When I first got mine, it was just before COVID hit and all the lockdowns in this country happened, and we were allowed out, supposedly allowed out for like a couple of hours exercise a day, and you can bet your bottom dollar I was out on that board. And if it happened to creep over the 2 hours, who's gonna know?
I wish I got mine, it during or pre-COVID. That would have gave me something to do while I had over 7 weeks off of work, and and even limited work even beyond that. So yeah, I'm glad you got to do some riding during that time.
So Don, what board did you plump for in the end? What electric board did you buy?
Well, I'd like to start off because with the electric skateboard that I purchased, first I went online and did the research. Probably, shortly after our episode, episode 15 aired, I started looking online at different boards and products and videos and reviews. And so I decided I wanted to get an electric skateboard first so I could learn the throttle and power control in a schoolyard type environment, riding around empty basketball courts and hallways and various areas. And so, because I wanted to get control of the motors, the braking, the power, throttle before I ventured onto more serious terrain in the off-road trails. So after doing a lot of research, and I like to make all right.
You're getting loads of visitors coming.
Oh, I wish I was there.
Hi, Dom. Hi, Dom.
Hello.
Hi, all.
Oh, so
coming up.
I was intrigued by a product, EcoMobile, which had the electric motors built into the hubs. You guys are having a great time. So, and I figured it would be a test. It was like a $900 electric skateboard, so pretty pricey in that range. But if I didn't like the motor and the board, I wouldn't. I'd move on to a different product. So the electric skateboard. Hello.
You okay? Hi, Dan.
Hi, Claire. Hi, Lucy.
Hi.
Absolute chaos here as normal.
Everyone. And my electric skateboard, the EcoMobile ET, was super powerful. Actually, a lot of times it almost threw me off the board. I had to really be careful with how to lean and accelerate, and also braking. So it was a good learning part, and I really liked being challenged of learning new skills. I feel very comfortable on the board, but now, I'm having to learn something from scratch, from brand new.
Yeah.
And
it's a little bit different. You got to shift your weight from one foot to the other, don't you?
Oh yeah. And then, even after a while, I bought the toe clips. I installed the little 1/2-foot bindings on my electric skateboard, give me more leverage, more control. The board in the back, and it's got the battery on the bottom. So it made it a little tricky on how to mount the toe clips.
Right.
But, I was able to do the best I could. I liked the stance and the feel. That gave me a lot more leverage and started to open up me being able to ride that at the dirt pump track, the BMX track, on the all-terrain electric skateboard. And once I tried to hit some jumps with it, and I crashed really bad, scraped up, bruised my hip, my ribs, just had, gravel in the skin and everything. And
I bet
I think
Mrs.
that
Baker
probably,
was. I bet Mrs. Baker was cursing us pair right then.
oh,
Yeah.
yeah, she's actually not even that happy. I pulled down, a big part of my collection out of the attic to display here, but she's like, "You're going to have it back, put away at the end of the day, right?" But she's great, So I stopped riding the electric skateboard. I need the electric mountain board. It was, I wanted to jump, I wanted to ride, and I needed the full board, the binding. No little toe clips weren't gonna be enough.
Yeah,
So
well, surely it's become what you're more familiar with, and in my experience, limited experience, the electric skateboards, despite the fact that I suppose you did it right, really, Don. You mitigated a lot of sort of things that might cause you issue by going to the basketball courts and riding on a tarmac or a smooth surface. You're taking all those sort of like errors or potential errors and potential failures out of it. But even so, as we know, that skateboards have a propensity at times, if you get it wrong, even without a motor, to just zip off from underneath your feet.
Just spit you off.
yeah.
If you're strapped to it, that can't happen. And it's still one of those things that people find weird about being strapped in. They don't want to be strapped in. But the reality is, if you're strapped in and your wheels are on the externals of your feet, you've got to be quite far off axis before it'll get out from underneath you in the same way that a skateboard could. So
Yeah,
I'm assuming you parted company with your skateboard in that bale.
Yeah, when I got the electric mountain board, it felt natural. I mean, I was at home on it. And the weight, it's so stable. Actually, I was going down some downhill runs that I felt more stable than I did on a traditional downhill mountain board because little wider trucks, the heavier board. And I was like, it just felt so good. I was like, wow, I'm not even worried a little bit. The braking is far superior to any brake systems I've used on traditional mountain boards.
Yeah.
So another huge advantage.
Yeah. I mean, when we did Snowdon, there were sections of that as we were walking up, we had to walk up because the terrain was just too big to even contemplate riding up. But on the way back down, we didn't get off once really, but the really steep and the really gnarly sections were made easier, so much so easier to be able to stay up on your feet by using the brakes. They're so effective. And yeah, like you say, it just opens up so much more terrain.
I've gone down a hill where the brakes didn't work well enough. I actually was white knuckled ride. I was freaked out and scared on my electric mountain board, and I didn't film it. I wish I had the camera rolling. But it was a narrow paved, asphalt tarmac trail that was leading towards dirt trails. And it was kind of flat at the top. Then all of a sudden, whoa, started going down. And I was just committed and kind of locked and loaded, like you've mentioned in the past. And there was just trees and rocks. There was no safe outlet. I'm like, I got to ride this out or I'm getting hurt bad. And I made it, but I was hitting the brake like as hard as I could, and it wasn't slowing me down.
Oh no. Now I wonder if that's anything to do with the hub drive. It is a gear. It is gears in there though, right?
Yeah, it's gears. It's a direct drive, a planetary gear. So it has an outer ring and 4 inner gears that
Right.
all, work together. And the one thing though is when I first started riding it, I didn't change the settings. I just had it like at the default settings. So it was like maybe on speed 3 and brake 2 or something like that. So it wasn't until a little later, okay, I started messing with the settings. But at that time, I didn't have it on the best braking mode and stuff. Maybe that might have helped, but sometimes I think with my weight and momentum and the speed, I might have reached a point where it just overran the board's
potentially.
capability.
I suppose if you like, I don't know. It might. I'm hoping it's correct to say, like in the braking, if you were to potentially overpower the computer in there, then it has potential to fail to brake as such. I mean, I know when I rode a belt drive board, the braking capacities of that in comparison to the spur gear drive, it was absolutely rubbish. I mean, it had many other redeeming qualities, don't get me wrong.
Yeah, like being about 20 kilo lighter.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, it's definitely the braking. I absolutely adore that ability. I think as an aging rider, it enables us to still ride quite intimidating and daunting tracks.
Yeah, it makes you braver.
Yeah, 100%.
And I've only had that braking issue on that one run.
Yeah.
And it was a run. If I was riding on a skateboard, I would have had to do my technical slides and shutdowns and pendulums. It was a really scary, asphalt road, 1-lane road.
Thank heavens you have got all the years of experience there, because that would be the correct thing to do, and it goes straight to a power slide, whether it be front or back side, and just rail that thing round to a stop. But yeah, he is getting messed with up there, isn't he, at Bugs
I'm
Board?
currently having Oreos balanced on my head.
So yeah, are you now riding your board then from literally your front door and exploring the local trails to you there, or?
No, I kind of have to drive to some trailheads. I live on Highway 9. It's actually a famous road. I know, like the motorcycles, they love cruising it. Like the Fast and Furious cars, drifting high-speed corners in the middle of the night. It's like an epic road. So I have to drive to nearby trailheads. And then I'm still exploring, but I've been having a lot of fun on the BMX tracks, and some of them, I'm familiar with. I've rode on my traditional mountain board, but I wanted to share one of the coolest differences to me on being on the electric mountain board compared to the acoustic at the BMX track. And a big part is when I end my run, I can go back up onto the platforms and be eye to eye with all the BMX bikes. And before, I would have to unbind down in the flat part, walk back up, and it just changed the how I get to communicate with the BMX community. And I just enjoyed it because I couldn't do that on my traditional mountain board. To be able to zip around nonstop, I can, get long runs. and then come to a stop and talk to the BMXers and stuff
So
face to face at the end of a run.
I assume that they've been reasonably welcoming to you then on the track.
Oh yeah. Yeah. You know, everybody's, you know, I try to avoid some rangers or authority on various trails. I go to some hidden trailheads. I don't want to blow out a spot. I don't want to ruin it for my riding or other future riders.
Yeah.
So I've taken kind of some of the, you know, what I've had to do for both mountainboarding and skateboarding and stuff, where, you know, sometimes a stealth session is a good way to handle it.
Oh, without doubt. So is that your board in the background there, Tom?
Yeah, I only have one, and it's great talking with you guys because I can't compare it to anybody, and I've never rode with another electric mountain boarder.
Oh,
so
if you're not,
that's where
it gets proper spicy when you've got like 7 or 8 of you all riding electric boards together.
Yeah, you'd have to be at a spot that is really inclusive for being okay for that. So you want me to show you or talk about the board a little more specific?
Yeah, bring that over because I've got a couple of questions.
I've not ever seen one of these boards in the flesh or ridden one.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I'm not a real big tech guy, so I could read off specs and stuff. But what I really like to talk about is just how it performs, the good things, the bad things, you know, and share that with your audience.
Yeah, bring it over. All right, I remember I think I remember seeing it. Nice. Pop it down next to you so you're not if possible. And then we can have a look up because I want to talk to you about them a few things I want to talk to you about, but in particular those tires there or the rear wheels, because there's something quite unique about them, isn't there?
Yeah, let me get my glasses on. I've moved from the screen a little further. Okay, so these wheels are solid rubber.
No.
Yeah.
No punctures at all ever.
Hang on, whoa. They're solid rubber.
Yeah. There's no inner tube. There's no valve stem. They're heavy. They're like 4 pounds. Or maybe it was 3 pounds. I think they're 3 pounds heavier than the pneumatic, but with the rim, and that's not including the motor. That's the comparison I did on the front tires when I switched them out. But so these things are solid rubber. I have some extra separate, but I didn't bring them out for display.
Do they wear well?
They're wearing pretty good.
Can we turn them 90 degrees so we can see the tread?
Yeah. No,
thanks, man.
Oh, nice. And is that a traditional channel truck in there?
Yeah, it's a channel truck. Let's see. I got to manipulate this a little bit. But yeah, you know, and it's got like lighting integrated into the front. So I can flip the board around. This kind of just showed more the motors and that end. Let me flip it around.
And you're fully carbon fiber, dude.
So here's the front truck.
Nice.
Yeah, I mean, overall, really good quality, strong. I think it's kind of over-engineered, but you know, that's okay with me. I kind of feel this is
overcomplicated and over-engineered for me is like too much maintenance. I like something clean and simple that I understand.
Oh, no, you would love this board. All I do is charge it and ride it. There's been a few times I bring a leaf blower at the end of a session. I'll blow it off to get the dirt and dust off of it.
Yeah.
Charge the battery. I mean, I haven't done one thing of maintenance on this board. And actually, that's my goal. I'm going to ride this board into the ground to its failure point without doing a thing to it. And then I could share that with the community.
Yeah.
So, because, you know, Kevin Delaney, he knows I'm not big on board maintenance. Okay. I'll fill up air in a tire. I don't like doing.
Yeah, that's my game plan. If there's
so
someone around,
mountainboarding,
if there's someone
really
around who can do it for me, I'm more than happy for them to help me out.
Yeah. So, you know, that was a big part of why I chose this board.
Yeah.
Is the fact that you know, that it came fully assembled.
Yeah.
All I had to do is slide on the battery, which it has a channel that it slides in and out.
So the battery's modular to the board.
Oh yeah. It came unassembled and I just slid it through a track. There's just grooves, and then they have a set screw.
Oh, that locks it in.
And that locks it in.
So can you hot battery them then? Can you take a fully charged one in your rucksack?
Yeah.
And then swap out?
Yeah, the reason I don't is it's like $600.
Batteries are fucking expensive.
Yeah, it's like, and I could buy a whole brand new one for $1,600.
Yeah.
Why buy the battery for $600? I'm going to ride this into the ground. If the battery's still good and I get another one, I'll have a spare battery. I don't know what's going to fail first, probably the motors. But
so,
you know,
how many miles do you get? Oh, how many? Yeah,
miles.
Range? You're in miles, your range on a full battery.
Yeah. That's its weakest point. And I mean, okay, you know, I'm heavy. I'm like 230. I ride steep terrain, so I'm not doing easy trails. So I get 9 miles. Not real happy. I've had to hike out a few times. But
Don, we've done rides with you know, decent sized batteries, and I've returned similar sort of figures.
Yeah.
It really does depend on the terrain.
It depends
and how you ride it. Yeah.
But an incredible 9 miles, I can tell you, even though I had to hike in a couple of cases, it was like 2 miles of hiking because, you know, I didn't want to stop riding.
Yeah.
Well, that's
the enjoyment.
Like, you've never done 9 miles non-stop on a mountain board on an acoustic, but like 9 miles, that's immense, man. That's a massive.
Yeah, when you put it into comparison to majority of length of rides or length of runs.
I spent on a mountain board, you spend more time walking up the hill than you do riding down it.
Yeah.
I got to say that battery pack does look really plush and smooth, and like the whole board looks.
It's got a little charging port. Let's see. Yeah, right here, a little charging port. Yeah. Oh, you know, and for the price, what a deal! $1,600.
Yeah.
Ready to
What's
go.
What's that work out to, Dan? In
US dollars.
About £1,200, £1,300 maybe.
That's really good. That's a good price.
That's an incredible price.
Yeah. So I'm going to show the bottom a little bit. Yeah, I don't.
You got some medals there. You got some nice war wounds.
Oh yeah, Yeah, because I like going up and, I can do like a little board slide, or there could be a little obstacle. Most of these scrapes happen from the top of rollers at the BMX tracks.
Yeah.
Just scraping on it and doing that. So yeah, no, I'm real stoked. And while we're talking about the battery real quick,
Yeah.
what I bought
I need a beer.
is this little unit.
I'll even accept cider.
And it's really light. It's a lithium. This here, it's got I can pump up the tires. It's made for cars, for jumping the car or filling up a tire. But I've used this. I've tested it to charge the battery, so I can actually just put this in my backpack. This only weighs maybe a couple pounds, maybe 3 pounds or 3 or 4 pounds. It's relatively light, and I can probably get a quarter of a charge from my board just from this, and that may get me that extra 2 miles back to the car.
Yeah,
and
you might need those. You might need those 2 miles one day.
Yeah. Well, if he's not got any mates to take their belts off to be able to tow them home, what?
Yeah, no, all solo.
There's no crew to be helping out.
Yeah.
So, well, we definitely need to get you hooked up with some riders out there.
Yeah, I think it's a matter of time, especially the more that I've had some problems with my GoPro and filming. I think the more that I'm able to post, on social media or YouTube and let people know where I'm riding and the area, people are gonna wanna try it and ride with me.
Yeah. Well, you certainly live in the right area for it, don't you?
Oh, there's some epic terrain. There was like this one trail, and it had like over 100 feet long. I don't know, maybe even 50 yards, half a football field of a pipeline. They call it the Pipeline Trail, and it's a big like water pipe, steel pipe. I want to get up and grind it or do a rock and roll or a board slide on it. I haven't gone back there. And actually, it'll be a little tricky even finding that trail again. The mass maze of trails are kind of endless. So I'll come across it again. And, it's hard when I'm filming with holding onto the pole. I can ride kind of probably 60% trying to film myself. So, I really have a good time when I don't have a camera in my hand and I'm just able to ride at 100%.
That's it. That's it, Don. You just carry on enjoying yourself, because that's what it's about. I went for a period of putting out a decent amount of edited content all the time, and I really enjoyed it for a bit. But at the end of the day, it was getting too consuming, and when I just wanted to ride, and yeah. I'm with you 100% on that as well.
He just shouts to everyone else, film me, while he drops in now.
Give the camera
but I
to
wanted
the
to document the beginning, my learning and the board. And once I want to get the Insta360, like my GoPro, the batteries failed. So that's why I haven't been filming any. I'm done with the GoPro. So I'm liking videos that I watch with the Insta360. I think I'll be able to have fun with that. Maybe 1 out of 4 times I'll film, and then the other 3 times, I just ride, have fun.
I'm so happy that you took the plunge and got stoked and got on the board, because from somebody that has had the layoff themselves from riding and come back to it's just phenomenal. It really is. I don't get out and ride my electric as much as I did anymore. But the reason for that is I'm riding more downhill board again. So
As long as you're riding.
exactly,
Yeah,
having fun out
exactly,
there.
Well,
exactly.
yesterday at Bogs, I spent all day riding my my downhill, and then today me and Bareback went out in the electric, so we were doing uphill board across.
Nice.
Just mixed it right up. It's really good.
So I had shared with you guys, because I haven't had anybody other than you two to talk about my electric boarding experience or progression. And so I wanted to share with your, with your listeners about, and it was like a light bulb moment. I was riding a trail, and actually I shouldn't have been there. I didn't realize it was private property, and man, this gun-toting old man, and even older than me, on a quad chased me down and gave me the riot act and kicked me out of there. But before that happened, I got some runs in, and again, I was like 2 miles out when the battery died, and that's when he came across me. I actually triggered game cameras that they use to signal trespassers and stuff. So but there was a section, and I mean, no one had rode this trail. It's, private property. I think they're going to turn it over to the state and make it public property sometime down the road. But it was an incredible day. So there was a downhill descent, and then a creek crossing with like a little wooden bridge, and then a big uphill. And I made it, I'd say 80% of the way uphill, and the board was losing momentum. I start hearing some clicking from the gears. And what I did is I just started tic-tacking. I lifted the front nose, and by changing the angle of the rear motor, I was able to get traction and throttle it and just lift the nose and tic-tac up. I willed my way to the top of the hill, probably easily, over 25 feet, maybe 40, 50 feet of making the board get up to the top, and made it all the way to the top. I'm like, that's it. I go, now I can ride this board and I can make it do what I want it to do.
Yeah.
It was an amazing moment.
Take the board for a ride rather than the board taking you for a ride.
Yeah. And if I didn't switch out the front tires to pneumatic, if I had left those heavy solid tires on there, there's no way I'd been able to do that.
Yeah, without doubt.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of the tramper riders in the UK run a larger rear wheel, or rear tire, I should say, than the front. It's horses for courses essentially, and personal preference. But I'd say in a free ride environment, those big chunky wheels that you've got on there on the back, they're going to be a massive help to you, and having the lighter front end to be able to hop it. Yeah, you're onto a combination there for hill climbing and stuff.
Yeah, I'm not going to change the setup, even though now they make pneumatic tires that can accommodate the motors.
Mm-hmm.
They've, my board, I bought it early on. It was maybe 4 or 5 months after that model production even existed. So I got the first generation of the production boards. And since then, of course, now you buy the board and it comes with pneumatic all the way around. So it comes with 4 pneumatics. They've upgraded the battery. So they have now a Samsung, cell battery. I'm not sure what brand or what quality of cells were in the first gen. And they've also upgraded the motors. And I guess the motors now have sensors that shut it down before overheating, or I don't know all the specs, but
Yeah.
for
They tweaked it a bit. I think
yeah,
there's a lad in Michigan that has informed me that he has an electric ecomobile board on the way to him. So not that that's anywhere near to you either, but so that,
Yeah, that's a bit of a long hookup, that one.
yeah. But obviously they're selling boards, so I'm assuming that there must be riders out there in the States.
yeah, I see some on some of the the group social media groups and stuff like that, and definitely getting to share information. Like just the other day, like 2 weeks ago, they said, well, the board will shut down because of the motors overheating. And I thought, oh, cool. I'll do some testing because, I knew after 9 miles, my board just shuts down. And looking at the controller, it's when it drops from 3 bars to 2, where, 4 bars is full battery juice. And it's like, why does it shut down as soon as it hits 2 bars? It confused me. And so I thought, well, maybe it was overheating. So I did some testing, ran the board, and then I let it cool down and try to restart it. Did that multiple times, and that's not the case. I know the limit of what my battery will go, and that might be related to the new motors or other stuff that I don't have. But I just want to, that would have been great. I was disappointed that wasn't the case, because I could take a break on the trail, let everything cool down, and then, get back up and make it to the car instead of hiking that last 2 miles.
Well, that would have been nice for you, wouldn't it?
Yeah. But I want to know, that way I know my limitations and I can share, the performance of the board with others.
When the board on those last 2 miles, when the board stopped being able to carry you, did it at least drive itself a bit on whilst you're walking, or did it just completely...
Not even on the downhill part? No.
Right.
That it just, I had to
carry
it, walk it. Yeah.
Oh, not ideal, not ideal.
Yeah, they get quite heavy after a while, don't they?
Yeah.
And I thought, okay, I'm going to get this so I don't have to hike as much. Yeah, big. I was in for a rude awakening, kind of early on. It's a whole learning phase,
Yeah, we've all done it.
Well, that's it. Once you know your battery, or even the amount of time that you've got. I know a few people that have got no battery read at all. They just know how long literally in time their battery lasts if I ride like an idiot for this amount of time.
And right at first it was like, okay, I couldn't physically ride the board long enough to worry about that. And then as I got conditioned and better at riding, it was like, oh, I could easily go twice as much. I want to keep riding, so I'm going to I'll figure something out. But really, in the meanwhile, I'm just going to ride this board into the ground and continue to let people know its weaknesses. Right now, its only weakness is its range, the battery, the price point, the lack of maintenance, the power. It gets me going 56 kilometers per hour. And most of the time,
plenty.
I'm not doing full power. Yeah. Maybe on some uphill inclines, it's got more power than I even need, unless I'm doing the uphill climbs.
Don, the price point is spectacular. Like on this side of the water, like you wouldn't be picking up anything half decent for that price at all.
Yeah, you might get something. You might get a second hand board.
Yeah,
but you wouldn't build stuff. But I'm not a tech guy. I'm not a maintenance heavy guy. So I wanted something out of the box I could plug and play. And, and I love, you guys are lucky. You got the Trampa crew and the warehouse, and amazing writers and all this stuff. I went to their website and it kind of overwhelmed me. It was complicated. I'm like, man, there's so many options. I didn't know what to order. And then it seemed like, wow, this is going to cost me, $3 or $4 grand. I was like, the sticker shock and then the confusion. And then I do like the Apex Predators and some of those boards. I'm like, there's cool stuff, but I figured I'm just going to leap into this. I'm going to try a board that wasn't proven, and it's kind of a joke. The guys in videos, they're trying to go up a curb, or they don't have technical riders, at least in the early part, riding their equipment. So I just took a gamble. I'm like, I will be the test person for this equipment.
It sounds like it's worked out.
Oh yeah, it's so good that when I destroy it, I'm gonna buy another one. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna buy an extra battery. So I'll pay maybe I'll see if I can get a discount on the extra battery, because they have an extended range battery. I don't know if that's the one that comes stock or if
you've got
the $600 one is better than the battery that comes with it. I'm not really sure, but I'm going to try to find that out.
And you got to pay off size of battery between your feet and extra weight potentially, because Trampa, for as an example, do a larger battery pack size. I run a smaller battery pack size because I don't like the extra weight, basically.
Yeah, I run quite a large one. I can get 20 miles in the woods out of mine.
Yeah, I think I return about 13, 14 mile at best, but Slogs, it's 20. But your board's heavier, is the bottom line.
Way heavier, yeah.
Yeah, and I want to set up for the BMX track. And there, I'm not riding 9 miles, riding the rollers and berms and everything. Oh, I get pretty wiped out. It's tiring. I mean, I can ride it longer than I could the acoustic mountain board, just because that wore me out even more. But the range is no problem when I go to the BMX track. So, and that's where I'm having, some of the most fun. I love it.
So stoked you got one. It really is cool. I forgot where I was going with that now. But yeah, so Ecomobile is the company and a US brand.
Are they an American company, Don?
No, they're a Chinese company. They had a distribution address in California, and so I felt pretty good about that. But then it took me a month to get the board, so they weren't stocked at their California warehouse.
They were shipping from China then.
Yeah, it took me a month. And from all the reviews and comments, that's one of the biggest issues. Another issue is when people run into problems, the company wants them to film the problem, to document it and stuff. And so I think there's definitely some communication and difficulty. I think they try their best, but
well, that's it. I mean, there's only so much R&D that these companies can do on their product in-house before launching it to the wide open public. And once you do scale up on such a massive scale, you're going to encounter problems and hitches along the route. And
you need feedback from the first users of the product, don't you?
Well, that's it. And they're constantly evolving. The firmware updates are always coming out for the Tramps and the various different ESCs that are in all these boards. But yeah, I don't know whether you know this, Don, but I think we're hoping to come over to the States next year. I don't know if you'd heard on the grapevine.
The Moab
Yeah. I was
gathering.
wondering, do you reckon your electric board would go all right round Moab?
Yeah, it 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 may be a difficult time. I need to be there. It's a long drive, and I can't fly with my equipment.
Right, of course, yeah.
And so and I got a son graduating high school, a son graduating college, and we have like a family trip. I'm pulled in so many different directions. So I don't know what I'm
You
gonna
got
do.
priorities, man. You got priorities
That's it. Family comes first, man.
But
Like
every fucking day.
every day.
yeah, so I do want to take my board there. I've been wanting to work on different generator options for when I'm camping, so I can do remote charging. Yeah, I want this to be a lifestyle that
Yeah.
I can incorporate remotely.
Now, you mentioned your kids there.
Yeah.
They do various board sports and have ridden mountain boards over the years. You know, maybe not quite as into it as their old man, potentially. I think that fair to say?
Yeah,
Uh,
definitely.
What about the electric boards? What do they what do they
Well,
what do they think of that now?
Well, my youngest, especially last summer, he was on my EcoMobile ET. Him and his friends, they got to take it out. They were riding it all the time. I had one rule. I go, you got to wear a helmet if you're going to ride any of my boards. And actually, I have a huge collection of boards and longboards and skateboards. So him and his buddies, they would go through the garage and just grab boards and did that all summer long. And everybody had to wear a helmet. And there was a few boards though that were like in bags. There were some specialty boards. They're like, okay, these are off limits. But there's
do
so
not
many.
unwrap these.
Yeah, there's a couple special boards that but one of my best days this winter was snowboarding with my my two youngest children, my sons. We hit a powder day doing tree runs, and it was special riding with my children and snowboarding trip and hitting conditions like that was very memorable.
Yeah.
It was special.
No helmet, no ride. It's the way forward.
Yeah, so they could ride yeah, they can ride some black diamonds with me, probably some of the easier black diamonds. They're they can't keep up with me when I'm going full on, but they're getting closer. They're getting closer, and it's a blast. So I've been sharing more of that definitely with my children.
Are there any of the trails? Do they come to the BMX? Have they come to the BMX track and had a ride round on the ET with you, or can the ET handle any of the actual trails? Do you think, like, if your son's on that?
It probably can. Yeah, he's been doing stuff with his friends. He was 16 last summer, so he's 17. So he's having dad tag along is cramping their style a bit.
He's finding his own feet, isn't he?
Yeah, but we'll see. I wouldn't be surprised if they start grabbing some of the acoustic mountain boards and exploring the trails. Whatever they want to do, as long as they wear a helmet, they can go out and play with my toys. Yeah.
Oh, nice. Well, I hope you get to share some joint rides with them on the electrics at some point.
Yeah, when I get another one, that will make that a lot easier for sure.
Are you back up at the start gates for sundown at Bugs Boarding, Slogs? Oh. I can't. I think he's talking to us, Don, but I can't hear.
Okay. He's having a good time.
Yeah,
we know that. So
I've unmuted again. I muted it because it's quite windy out here.
Oh,
So I didn't want to interrupt anybody. So I put mute on, but I've walked back to the start gates. Yeah.
oh, nice.
So Slugs, how are you feeling? Are you like up to riding? I know you got injured pretty seriously and stuff. So
Yeah.
how are you recovering?
I'm riding again. I've been. Yeah, I'm riding 9 weeks later, and I was back on the board. I've had. In fact, I rode both boards this weekend. Yesterday I stayed with a downhill, and today me and Steve Burbett went out on the electrics going up the board across. So I'm taking it easy, but I'm getting there, and it was really good.
Oh, that's awesome. Good to hear that.
It's been,
Good, great to
it's
hear
been
that.
dark days, man, but we're getting there.
Yeah, I really feel the electric mountboarding's been a lot safer for me. My I've had some scary moments or times I felt uncomfortable or that I could really hurt myself. But in general, my only crashes have been when I come to a stop on a steep inhale climb, and it just becomes awkward at that moment to shift the board sideways, or I'm fully strapped in with my heels, so I can't comfortably. But I don't even consider that. That's not a crash. That's just trying to get off your board.
Yeah, that's
just like an exit.
That's a silly not anticipating what the inevitability of what could happen when you come to a stop.
Yeah,
So now,
and I try to disengage with the remote because it's in my hand. I don't want to, so I just kind of let it loose as I'm going down to the ground. The remote's been pretty durable, so I haven't had issues really with any of the equipment.
Is it on a thumb or is it on a forefinger? The
It is the thumb.
Uh-huh.
It's on the thumb. And I got it right here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
So it's got a little display. And what I would really like, and I got to maybe mess with the speed modes at the BMX track. I would love just to have it at a range where I can go full blast and it'd be the perfect speed, because it's so sensitive. It's like I got to go, just a little bit, or or it's too fast. It throws me. So really getting control of this and how torquey and powerful the board is in the BMX track, I just try to find that sweet zone and then just keep it there. But I would love to either go just full and that be rideable.
Yeah, I suppose the sensitivity of the throw, I believe, or the action of the throttle. And again, more techie guys would know how to do this in the settings. So there is the advantage sometimes of being that techie guy. But I mean, certainly on most modern ESCs, you can adjust the throttle curve and the throw of your trigger or but
I don't know if I got room in my head to try to learn anything newer than what I'm already doing. You guys know I've had a lot of crashes. Probably, I only have so much capacity left in my brain.
Well, as you said earlier, we are lucky to have the companies, by comparison, reasonably close by. So and the ability to be able to FaceTime and stuff, I don't know what I'm doing half the time, but I know that the guys at Temple Wheel are on the same time zone. Yeah, you can just call them up and just literally spoon feed me what to do. Press this button, hold it for this amount of time.
And I love Dave G for that.
Yeah, I love watching the videos, and I'm big fans of all the electric mountboarders out there. I try to follow their pages, watch and learn, and we have so much in common, regardless of how far we live away from each other.
Well, listen, Don. We're going to go for a shorter episode than we had
Yeah.
done in our previous one. But I can see that obviously the myriad of beautiful boards in the background there. Was there any specialities there that we didn't get to see last time that you've got in there for us this
Yeah,
anything still in polythene?
there's one. I'm going to bring it over here and maybe give you a little story on it. It's pretty unique, and yeah, let's get right into that.
Oh, it is awesome to see them all lined up there.
Oh no, look at it.
Oh no. Is that what I think it is? Is that a tube? It's not a tube. What is this?
Insanity.
That looks like the front wheels off a Boeing 747.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to just hold it up because I guess as I'm talking, I want you guys to be able to see it. This here is and that deck, that's not a snowboard. Okay. That is not a snowboard. It's still in the wrapper. I didn't even take the plastic off. I just pulled this out of the box yesterday. It was all wrapped in paper. The front and rear trucks are identical. And it's the Turf DeVille.
Turf DeVille.
The Turf DeVille.
Turf DeVille. And hold on, I gotta grab the brochure real quick. That way
What madness is this board?
It's insanity.
Yeah. I thought you guys might like this
Oh,
one.
I love it.
Oh yeah, we love it.
Oh, I love it. Look at that.
Yeah, and so this is a wild story. I'll just tell one, mountain board history little lesson here to finish things up. But
are you sharpening your pencil, Dan?
what we did is we had seen these online. This was early 2000. There was videos. They're riding grass hills. I think they were out of Minnesota. So yeah, Golden Valley, Minnesota. The Turf Board. So Turf Board's the company. The Turf DeVille was the model name, and it's really crazy. So, with dirt heads and all of our social media and writing, a lot of companies contacted Kevin and I.
Yeah.
And so a sales rep for this company reached out and they wanted me to ride their board because I saw them. They were retailing for $900 US back in 2000. Right. They were the most expensive board. They were double any other board on the market, and even more than double because MBSs weren't, super high priced at that year. But so the rep, he wants to come out, and he don't even ride. This guy, he's just a sales guy.
Oh, he's a salesman.
Yeah. So he was my caddy. He actually carried this board. It's really heavy, all the way up a big hill. I never had a caddy. I'm walking up next to him. He's carrying the board for me. We go up this hill, and it was a challenging hill. It's in Los Gatos Mountains, and and it had fully strapped in snowboard bindings. Oh, here come the doggies. So so I fully strap in, high back snowboard bindings, and there's a brake. It had a rear brake, and as you saw in that picture, you're up high. I'm going down, and it was crazy. The brakes worked pretty good. The brakes worked really good, but I don't know if you see these grooves on the side of the tire. You actually use that like when you're turning, you're no longer on the nubby surface, but you're on these grooves, and it was just crazy. Oh, I was again white knuckled. I thought I was gonna crash. I go, no way. Am I gonna get down riding this hill? I would say it was definitely an advanced trail. I hit, speeds higher than I felt comfortable. And I only rode it once, I didn't buy it. And then one of those days when I was looking on eBay, I came across this board. It was $99. It came with a helmet, a full face helmet, pads, elbow pads, knee pads, wrist guards. I sold the pads for $50, so I made half my money back, and I still have the board and the helmet. And it's pretty neat, but I just had to share that story and this special mountain board.
So $40.
Yeah.
A bargain.
Yeah, $49 or something. I probably had free shipping. Yeah. It'll go in the museum, but I don't want to wait till the museum to share stuff with you guys.
No.
That's like a special thing for me.
It's an absolute joy. And Donna, I've got to thank you. I really have, because your episode, as we gave you electric mountain boarding, you gave the UK and me a passion for trying to preserve some of the boarding history that we do have in the UK, and 2 years.
And now down to a garage full of crap.
Yeah, it means I've got a garage full of crap, basically.
Yeah, my wife's not real happy about my collection, guys. I'm glad you enjoy it.
But last year, not last year, because we were doing the live broadcasts from the UK champs, but the year before, I took along everything that I'd compiled so far and encouraged a number of people who I knew had a good, quiver of old boards to also do the same, and to we borrowed a tent off of Steve Birkbeck, so all the stuff could go in one tent. Most of the board, I'd say probably about 80% of the boards were all rideable as well. We'd all service them so that
plenty of frame boards, weren't there?
That's it. We had frame boards. We had the loco. Well, I've got one down here, but the loco boards with the balloons on the bottom, the original ones with those. Some of the old
Dirt Surfers, Unlimited. There was oddities everywhere.
Yeah, the prototype three-wheelers, like the Outback ones. It was absolutely fantastic. Every edition of ATB mag. There were even a couple of Orb magazines there as well.
Oh, cool.
But yeah, people brought in old race jerseys and regional teams. It was phenomenal. And Don, it was all.
That makes it special. Yeah. It keeps the history alive, because there's younger riders that don't know any of this stuff.
No, and least of all ever had the opportunity to ride them. I was riding with some of the Groms in the evening, and they're like, I've never even seen these boards. I didn't even know these existed, and they're trying them out and riding them for the first time and enjoying them. It's just fantastic.
And they could actually feel the progression of what the sport did, even though they weren't there, but they can participate in it. And I'm stoked for you guys and for the whole community. I wish I could jet set around the world and be more places, but I really thank you guys for this opportunity, to share again a little more of my story, because I've got grandchildren, and someday I'll have great grandchildren and stuff, and they'll be able to see and hear my story through your work. So it's special to me.
Well, it runs deep in mountainboarding history, mate.
That's it. You run deep in the history,
Yeah.
and now in electric history as well. That's the beautiful
How
part of it.
how could this old man like be cutting edge again? I mean, but and I thank you guys for that. You, like I said, you lit a fire in me. It's like I needed.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
it's something special.
I'm stoked to hear that.
Yeah.
If I've done nothing else in my life, I've done that. I'm quite happy with that.
Yeah.
Stop now. Stop.
See, I'm used to being a disappointment to my wife and children, but not to you, Don. Not to you.
Yeah, no, it's and we may have to do this again. I'm around, so
Anytime. Don't go getting yourself into trouble with the wife, though. Getting it all in and out of the loft and annoying her.
yeah.
Just get the odd piece here and
As long
there.
as I don't get hurt, then we can deal with all the other stuff. I really got to thank her. I mean, I broke myself really bad. She had to take care of me. I was in a full leg cast for 10 months. Had multiple surgeries from Mountainboarder related stuff. So she's been super supportive.
I'd like to give my wife a little shout out for that as well, for a the recent shit she's had to deal with.
Yeah, she's bed nursed you for a while, eh, Sloggett?
yeah, I owe her big time.
Yeah. But yeah, well, I suppose. Oh, God. Oh, well done, Lorna. You helped me out as well.
Yeah.
I better not get myself in trouble.
No.
But yeah, look, Don, thank you so much for joining us on the dirt again. Or the dirt.
We really appreciate it, and it's so good to catch up with you.
Yeah, definitely.
Thank you.
Look, if you're listening, and you're watching, and you're stateside, get in touch with Don if you're in the area and want to get out on some trails. And yeah, Don, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you again. Please keep all the time the dirt's going on. We'll keep getting you back. Hey, maybe we need to introduce Kevin Delaney to the chat a little bit. Do you think he'd go for it?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, there's definitely and there may be some other dirt heads that might even be more excited. But Kevin, he likes to be a little bit behind the scenes, but we'll have to chat, and I can't speak for anyone else.
Let's work on them and then come back to us.
Yeah, let's hit up the messages. And we'll organise a little group episode or something like that for you.
That'd be fun.
Yeah, definitely. Look, Don, thank you again, and I'll speak to you very soon, my man.
Cheers, guys.
Thanks, guys.
Way aye, man. That was dead canny as out that like. Cheers for tuning out to listen. Now, before you gan yem, don't forget, if you want to keep getting doing with the Dorty Dort fun, like and subscribe. Get amongst it. Shy Ben's getting out.